And we are live. Good evening, everyone. Great to have you with us. We are here live at the home studio. This is Jim Masters Live, and it's a pleasure to have you with us today. And I wanted to check in and chime in, send some love and light, and see how everybody is doing today, this Thursday, May 7th, 2020. What a great show we had last night. So many people from all around the United States, Canada, and from Europe and Australia. So many fabulous places. They joined us on the show last night, and we had a lot of fun. It was my sister's birthday. We sang her happy birthday on the show as well. Plus, we had a lot of engagement, a lot of people that were tuning in and were chiming in, telling us about some of the really cool things they're doing. Several of the folks are getting ready to do some gardening, and some were cooking. We were celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week, Nurses Appreciation Week. I think that's all fantastic. There's so many wonderful people that are out there that are doing incredible things right now to get us through this pandemic, this situation that we're all dealing with, which has been unprecedented and is absolutely extraordinary. So kudos to all of them. Actually, we have a little bit of a tribute to them we're going to do in just a few minutes. But first, to begin the show, Jim Masters Live, and we are working on an open and a close with graphics and all. Got the team working on that. But to welcome you all here, hopefully you are either enjoying your dinner or you just wrapped up your dinner. The reason why we're doing 7 p.m., because so many people said they love 7 p.m. as a time, basically because it's after the dinner and it's before 8 o'clock when maybe they're watching movies or they're doing some hobbies at home or Netflix. But lights, camera, action. It is time to begin the show on Jim Masters Live. Again, great to have you here. So we've been talking a little bit about I want to take you back in time because we launched this on Sunday because so many people said to me, Jim, I watch you on TV, I listen to you on the radio. Can you do something like this on social media? And I said, absolutely. Let's see what we can put together. And we're building on it right now. Hello to Marianne Kelly. Nice to see you, Marianne, in New Jersey. Actually, Marianne and I were on the air today on Close Up Radio, and we did a significant and very impactful interview. We also talked about ways to deal with what we're going through right now with COVID-19, which is absolutely extreme and extraordinary. And Marianne is an extraordinary person herself, and it was such an honor to have an opportunity to chat with her on the radio today. For me, I was busy on the air on the radio interviewing terrific guests. We're here tonight with you. I tell you, behind the scenes, I'm really getting excited because, I do this kind of thing for a living, working on television, radio, and stage, and so much more. But I'm really getting excited about building and creating this community that we are creating. On Sunday, I took you guys on location on Jim Masters Live, and we went to the Saybrook Point Inn and Spa and the beautiful coast of Old Saybrook, Connecticut. And then on Monday, we went along the Shoreline Greenway Trail, which was really a lot of fun because it was almost like a hurricane. It was cold, it was chilly, and I'm holding the selfie stick and I'm going like this. And all of a sudden, it was almost as if the wind wanted to rip that selfie stick and the camera right out of my hands as I'm going over this steel metal bridge, showing you some of the beauty of the coastline of southern New England. But that is a great trail that goes from Madison, Connecticut to Guilford, Brantford, East Haven, and ends in New Haven at Lighthouse Park. But it was frigid. You could see my hat was just about ready to blow off my head, my white baseball cap. And it was really cold, but it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Ken is here from Wappingers Falls, New York. And Martha Oliver Swartz is here as well. Christine Fairwood is here. June Rachelson Aspa, who's a dear friend of mine and a lyricist in New York City. She is here. Kathleen Walker is here as well. She is from New York City as well, from Queens. Good to see you, Kathleen, as well. I just posted a picture actually earlier today on my Facebook page at Jim Masters TV of my dear friend Kathleen and I. I mentioned Kathleen the other night. She was telling us about some of the toys. If you remember, it was 2 nights ago, we did a whole episode on our childhood toys, some of our favorite toys. And I brought on stage here in this home studio my Matchbox cars. We brought in to play Twister and Connect 4, and everybody was talking about all their cool toys, Lincoln Logs and G.I. Joes and Chatty Cathy's and Life and Chutes and Ladders and all the board games and so much more. And Kathleen was chiming in. And I want to tell you, I posted a photo just about an hour ago, maybe half hour ago on Facebook, which is a TBT, turn back time photo. Before masks and social distancing, my friend Kathleen and I got a chance to actually appear on the Rachel Ray Show. We were there with Rachel, and it was a really cool experience. They filmed that in New York City at the Chelsea Studios. Right now, they've been pretty much on tape. She's been doing a lot of shows out of her home, like we all are, and it was really, really cool. I think, Kathleen, you remember that fantastic day we had at Chelsea Studios, and we went to lunch. I think the reason why we went to lunch right after the Rachel Ray Show filming and taping is because watching Rachel cook all that great food, we were starving. So we were like, we got to eat, we got to go. Ken is here as well, and he's saying hi to Martha. Martha's saying hi to Ken, and everybody is showing up, and that's great. It's good to see you all. So tell me, what did you guys do today? We're sort of like comparing notes as far as what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. Did you do what I said you should do at least once a day? Remember this? I mentioned last night on Jim Masters Live on our episode, relax. I know we're going through unprecedented times. We're going through extraordinary times in our lives. So many businesses closed, so much loss, life, and so much more. So if there's any way, and again, I'll show you this again if you didn't see it last night on the show. This is really cool. We picked this up in Newport, Rhode Island, and it's like an old scene from the 1920s on a coastal New England beach, probably Newport. And this was really, really cool. So I say to people as much as possible, if there's any way that you can try to relax, breathe deeply, think about the blessings in your life, the true joys as well. Goodspeed Writers Online. June, my friend June in New York City, was with the Goodspeed Opera House, the Writers Online. Matter of fact, I got a chance to go to several days at the Goodspeed Opera House with their writers group, and it was about 2 years ago. We each had our own sort of townhouse. It was really cool. And then everybody met, and they throw together and present in front of all the other writers and some performers some of their ideas. They sort of like perform them and throw them up against the wall, and then the other writers sort of deduce them and sort of come up with suggestions and tweaks and ideas. And they do sort of like mini performances. It's part of the Writers Colony. It's in Essex, Connecticut, which is a beautiful, beautiful area there. In East Haddam, Connecticut, where the Goodspeed Opera House is along the Connecticut River. And that was terrific. Remember that, June? How fabulous that was. We really enjoyed that. Ken did a lot of schoolwork online with his son. That is terrific. Ken, how old is your son, and what grade is your son in? And does he have any interest? Is there anything that's sparking his interest right now early on that he wants to do? Martha had doctor appointments and then came home and has been painting rocks for the fairy garden. If you weren't with us last night, Martha is creating a fairy garden. Again, let us know, folks, where you're from for the new folks that are here, the towns, the cities, the countries that you're in. She's making a fairy garden, and she sent me a bunch of photos today, and I'm going to see if I can print those out maybe tomorrow night. One of the nights I'll show you as we watch Martha build her fairy garden. We were talking last night. I was asking if there was any green thumbs out there. I tend to be a green thumb, meaning, of course, I like to garden, and that comes back from being taught as a child. So I like to do all kinds of different gardening, from green square foot gardening to pots to full-on gardening, or all around the house. Let's see. So good you were there. Yes, June. Going to the Writers Colony with the team at Goodspeed was really an amazing experience. And I hope we get a chance to do that again. And I hope I get a chance to see you again. I miss you. We haven't been able to hang out in Manhattan and along the Connecticut coast and elsewhere because of social distancing. But see, we may be distant, but we're still social, and we still all love each other. Christine checked in with friends who live alone, and she worked on her laptop a little as well. That is terrific. Check in with those friends and with the family. You may hear you hear that grinding sound? When you do a show from the home, you may get some outdoor sounds. The landscapers are here. The lawn's being done. The edging is being done. So if you hear that, I kind of like that. You know why I like that sound? it's a constant in life. You know what I mean? Like the birds chirping and the tide of the ocean. I think right now we need to hear the sound of lawnmowers and things like that just to remind us of some of the normalcy in life. Ken, his son is a fourth grader, 9 years old, and he loves his sports. Well, I imagine probably Ken, if he's in Wappingers Falls, he's probably a New York fan, probably. I would imagine the New York teams in the city. And Martha, of course, watching her son's show just before ours. Fantastic as well. He's a great talent, and it's so great to see him a part of the mix here as well. I want to surprise you with something. I used to collect, I think back in college, and maybe some of you did this as well, unless you're not necessarily a big TV person, but having worked in TV, we always collected so many different things. And a friend of mine knew that I used to collect TV guides. They used to be so collectible. You may remember one of our dear friend Lucy Arnaz, when she was born, on the cover of TV Guide, Lucille Ball, it was like one of the highest rated episodes of television at that time, or the most popular, still beloved covers of TV Guide. One of my friends, her name is Joyce. I'm not sure if she's watching tonight. I hope she is. She knows I love TV shows. And she knows that I like this series. One of the shows I used to like that's been in reruns is called Family. And it was starring Matthew Broderick's father, James Broderick, with the brilliant actress Sada Thompson, Meredith Baxter Birney, and Christy McNichol, and if anybody remembers Christy McNichol, and Gary Frank. And it was supposed to be a suburban family in the Pasadena, California area. The Lawrences, Kate Lawrence and Doug Lawrence and Buddy and Nancy and Willie. And then Quinn Cummings came on, and she was part of the show. But one of my friends recently got me a TV guide that is actually from that era. And you may remember that TV series. You can see it there. I'll put it right there. With James Broderick, that's Matthew Broderick's father, and Sada Thompson, who was a brilliant actress, Meredith Baxter Birney, who I believe is just Meredith Baxter. And then she moved on to play the mom, Mrs. Keaton, in Family Ties on NBC. And then Buddy Lawrence, who was Christine McNichol, and Gary Frank, who was Willie Lawrence as well. So this was really cool to get this. This goes back to the 70s, the late 70s, this TV guide. There you can see them there. And what's really cool is when you look through these things, you can get a Buick Regal for $5,000. It's and you see some of the shows, of course, that were big then too. I used to love these TV guides, and again, they were very, very collectible at the time, and so many people were into these shows. You just get a chance to see some of the stuff. The Love Boat. Remember when The Love Boat was on ABC? The Love Boat. What were some of your it's sort of like a retro week we've been doing here on Jim Masters Live as we kick off this series. This weekend, I'm going to take you on location. So we're going to have a surprise visit on location. Sunday morning, if you join me at 10 a.m., I asked everybody what was a good time to do this. And everybody said 10 a.m. was a really great time. We're going to do a Sunday brunch together, 10 a.m. Eastern, right here on Jim Masters Live. We're going to be here at the home. I wish I can invite you all here. We're still doing the social distancing. Otherwise, I'm going to bring the home studio to you. And at 10 a.m., if you join us on Jim Masters Live, right now we're streaming on YouTube and Facebook collectively. So we're on Facebook and the YouTube crowd. I welcome everybody from all crowds joining us here. We're going to have breakfast together on Sunday at 10 a.m. I tossed around that idea. I've been thinking about that as we're getting creative with these episodes. It's not going to be just the same thing where I'm, just talking and that's about it. I want you guys to be involved, and you guys guide me as far as what you want to see here on the show. So that's 10 a.m. this Sunday. We're going to do a Sunday breakfast or brunch with Jim, 10 a.m. Eastern. I don't know. Maybe I'll be in my pajamas. Maybe I'll be in my robe. Some food in front of me. We'll have to see. And then this weekend, we're going to take you on location as well. We've been taking people on location as much as we have been doing the in-studio shows as well. I want to, as I love to do, I send you love and light as we check in and chime in. And I hope you have, as I say on our series here, your beverage of choice, whether it can be beer or wine, soda, perhaps juice. Maybe it's some ginger ale, maybe just plain H2O, some water. Last night it was an amaretto, which got a lot of response. And the night before that, it was a shock top Belgian white light beer that had a hint of orange. And tonight it's a very nice, light Thursday evening with a Riesling, a nice little sweeter Riesling wine. So I say cheers to you and you and you and you, as well as you, everybody who's watching right now. We'll do our toast. Clang. Good to have you with us. Now you can take your sip because this is social media, so we're allowed to have some on our show. Unless if this was with Hoda and Kathy Lee on the Today Show, then you can have it throughout the whole show. James F. Taylor Jr. is here, Martha's son. Great water for you, hydrating after your show. Exactly. I had a bunch of water before the show. I usually have it after as well. Cheers to you as well, James. It's good to have you here. So we've had a really cool retro week. Earlier in the week, I took you on location to some cool spots. We were outdoors, social distancing, wearing the masks, of course. And I invite you to the YouTube channel. If you're not on the YouTube channel, subscribe to me at Jim Masters TV. I've got a whole other series of episodes called Masters Mantras Live that I've been doing as well, positive episodes. And you can find those on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at Jim Masters TV. We've been doing retro this week so far. A couple of days ago, we did childhood memories where we talked about all our different toys. And then yesterday, we were talking about birthdays and celebrations. I would love it if Jerry Aspa, I tip my hat to you, and Jacob and Jonathan Aspa as well. They're in New York City, the heart of Manhattan. Jerry actually is a lead designer with Macy's and the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the flower show, and it's been with them for many, many years. As a matter of fact, they took me on a tour to the beautiful headquarters in New Jersey where they designed the parade, the flower show, and all those other brilliant things that are true Americana. Got a chance to see the floats and all the different things. We've gone twice so far, and God willing, we'll see what happens this year. Keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll get a chance to do that again. That's the big Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade that you see on Thanksgiving morning on NBC. So we've been doing a lot of retro stuff, which is really, really cool. And you guys have been really responsive with that. I showed you again just moments ago the TV guide cover for the TV series Family. My friend got me this. This goes back to the 70s. What are some of your favorite TV shows, past and present? Are there some shows that you really, really love that you wish were back on? Sometimes you get a chance on Antenna TV or some of the other channels to see some of the reruns, Hulu, Roku. But if you were to list like your top 5 TV series, they could be comedy, they could be drama, they could be science fiction, it could be nature, it could be a news program. Do you have a top 5 shows? Of course, I love Twilight Zone. That's always Twilight Zone, and we're living in the Twilight Zone right now. That's always been great. Kathleen Walker loved Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, June Aspa loves The Honeymooners. Good old Jackie Gleason. They ran for years on WPIX Channel 11, late night in New York. The Odd Couple was a good one too, with Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. James F. Taylor Jr. loves I Love Lucy. Of course, that is a fantastic one, revolutionary and hilarious. And I don't know if you saw the recent episode of Will and Grace, but Lucy Arnaz was on that series, and she was in the episode or the section that they did. They did a retrospective over the years of I Love Lucy. It was really, really cool. And Lucy played that woman. Remember when it was the candy, the chocolate candy factory with Lucy and Ethel, Vivian Vance and Lucille Ball. And the woman that comes out, okay, speed it up, fellas, whatever. Lucy Arnaz actually acted in the reenactment that aired a couple of weeks ago on NBC on Will and Grace. It was hilarious. June says Way Out. Ken says Hill Street Blues. Yes, that is another fantastic series. Have any of you ever appeared on a television series, or maybe in a movie, maybe an independent film or a major motion picture? I know a lot of friends of mine have had roles. I appeared on Law and Order an episode or so of Law and Order, and also a really cool show called was on FX, and it was called Lights Out. It was really, really cool. June says Law and Order as well. Marianne Kelly loves Cheers. That's right. At the Bullfinch Pub in Boston. Cheers. Martha, my longtime friend, Lydia Cornell's Too Close for Comfort. Yes, that was a great series. Jim J. Bullock was in that. And Ted Knight, of course. We loved Ted Knight. Ted Knight was originally born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut, as was Charles Nelson Riley, who you remember from The Ghost of Mrs. Muir. He also was next to Brett Summers on Match Game, hosted by Gene Rayburn. That was a fantastic. I loved Match Game for game shows. It's one of my favorite. Let's see. Long time. Yes. So with Too Close for Comfort, you may remember Ted also was Ted Baxter in Mary Tyler Moore, and he was so perfect on that. Episodes on Sundays in WETV, June says. Alf. Ken loves Alf. I mentioned it a couple of nights ago when we were doing the retro on our favorite children's toys, and I brought out all the Matchbox cars and Twister and Connect Four and that kaleidoscope, that my mother actually loved Alf as well on NBC. And she sent away for the Alf doll, and she got it. And she also got the Snuggle Bear from the detergent commercial. It was innocent. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, there's another one, June. Yes, I tip my hat to the legend, Johnny Carson. I mean, tough to top. He was one of the best. And his reruns are on Antenna TV in the evenings. Absolutely love that. You know, it's really nice when you get a chance to go back and see some of the older talk shows. I believe some of the channels are rerunning. There's a channel, I don't know if you guys get it. I have Comcast Xfinity, and a lot of the channels that we get are really cool. There's a channel called Tubi, Tubi, Tubi. If you're just talking to your remote, which we happen to have here, and you go, Tubi, Tubi comes up. It's Tubi. And it has so much material, documentaries, science, classic shows, nostalgic, so many different categories. And it actually has the reruns of Merv Griffin. The Merv Griffin show are on there as well. Full episodes of the Merv Griffin show. Really, really cool. Used to love Dick Cavett as well. But Johnny Carson, one of the best. Kathleen also said Chips. Remember Chips? Eric Estrada. That's right. Chips. Do you remember what Chips stood for? Chips. California Highway Patrol. California Highway Patrol, Chips. Lucy saw last night on, yes, that's right. Lucille Ball was on a Carson clip recently. June loved Gilligan's Island. You know what other ones I loved? I Dream of Jeannie. Matter of fact, I don't have it right in front of me, but next time I'll show you. I have a replica that I sent away for. It's hand painted, a replica of the actual bottle that was used, not the actual bottle, but a replica of the bottle that was used on I Dream of Jeannie with Barbara Eden. And a little trivia as far as how they created that beautiful hand-painted bottle for I Dream of Jeannie. That bottle was patterned after a liquor bottle. Yes, nobody knew that. Yes, James and Kathleen love Bewitched. Elizabeth Montgomery, yeah. You know what's funny about shows like Family and Bewitched and the Brady Bunch? I'll have to show you those pictures. I got a chance to visit last year the Brady Bunch house, and HGTV, which is a fabulous channel, and I have some friends that are there and they program the network, and they're fantastic. They were responsible for, one of our friends, Lauren, was responsible for the Property Brothers and the Brady kids coming together and renovating the Brady house. One of the most beloved houses from television is that Brady Bunch house. And if you ever got a chance to go there in California, in North Hollywood, Studio City, North Hollywood area, it's just a regular house, in the neighborhood there. And it wasn't, it was only used for the facade, for the front. The window that you saw on the upper left-hand side of the Brady Bunch house didn't even really exist with the real house. They never used the backyard. They never really used the sides. They just used the front of that house in a tight neighborhood with other houses behind and like a building behind. But they renovated it, and it was absolutely incredible. Yeah, Perry Mason was another really, really good one. Dick Van Dyke. Yep, and I have a hassock over here too. Maybe I'll do a thing where I trip on the hassock. Good Times, another good one. Esther Roll, yes, really, really terrific one. And J.J. Walker and John Amos, they were really good. And do you remember where Esther Roll was before she was on Good Times? Norman Lear gave her that opportunity, and John Amos as well, to star together in that groundbreaking 70s series, which aired on CBS, Good Times. Do you remember where she was before? James says, Boop, yes, another good one. Martha loved old police shows, Cannon, Mannix, Dragnet, Adam 12, Emergency, another good one too. Emergency, my sister used to have a crush on Randolph Mantooth, who was in Emergency. Remember him? Laugh-In, of course, Dick Martin and gang. That Boop were singing along to DVD, LOL. Welcome Back, Kotter. That was another fantastic one as well. Another really, really good one. So Esther Roll, Good Times, and John Amos, Good Times. Do you remember where Esther Roll was just before? Yes, that's a good guess. So actually, no. But it was a show that spun out of the one that you just selected, Christine. We're talking about on Good Times, where did Esther Roll come from in terms of a series that Norman Lear had created, and Esther Roll was on it, and then he gave her an opportunity to break out and open up an opportunity for her to have her own show. It all came out of All in the Family, which was Christine's guess. All in the Family was first, and then you had... Matter of fact, that's a good question for you. Do you know the spin-offs to All in the Family? The All in the Family was first, and then there were shows that grew out of All in the Family. Norman Lear was a genius. Bless him. He's still with us, as is Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner and Dick Van Dyke. These guys are geniuses. Yes, exactly, Christine. Karen Levitt, good to have you with us, Karen. Thanks for joining us. She loved Green Acres. So funny. And that, I believe, was not with Zsa Zsa Gabor. That was Ava Gabor, Zsa Zsa's sister. And Eddie Albert played the husband, right? That was Green Acres. Martha says Randolph Mantooth is still hot. My sister probably agrees with you. June says Travolta. So All in the Family. Yes. Do you remember the Jeffersons moved in next door? That's right. George and Louise Jefferson, Isabel Sanford, Sherman Hemsley. They were so good in those roles. And then they moved on up to the East Side, and they had their own series. But do you remember when Edith Bunker's cousin came to visit Archie and Edith? And that episode was hilarious. And the cousin was played by Beatrice Arthur. The response was so incredible. CBS got so many calls that I think it was the chairman of CBS that called Norman Lear and said, we have to do a spin-off. The woman, the actress that played the cousin of Edith Bunker was so incredibly funny. She's got to have her own series. And that turned out to be Maude. Kathleen, you got it. That's right, Maude. And then Maude was a spin-off of All in the Family. Jefferson spun off. There was another one called Gloria too, where Gloria Stivic she went off, Sally Struthers, and she was given a short-lived show as well. But Esther Roll was Florida Evans, the maid on Maude for a while, you may remember. And she was so funny that Norman Lear said, we're going to open up an opportunity for Esther Roll to have her own show. So they spun off Good Times with Esther Roll. And John Amos played her husband on Maude, and he was Henry. But then when the show was created for Maude, for Good Times, he left Maude, as did Florida Evans, and they became Florida and James Evans. So he was Henry Evans when he was making appearances on Maude, the husband of Esther Roll, or Florida Evans on Maude. And then when they got their own show, he became James Evans. So they changed the name. Remember the episode where he was killed in the accident and then she had to live on her own with the kids? Golden Girls is another great one. Abbott and Costello, WKRP in Cincinnati. That was another fantastic one as well. Some really good choices we've got here. Twilight Zone. Oh, I love Twilight Zone. How about, let's see, what's another one? Does anyone remember? Now, this goes back. Please Don't Eat the Daisies. That was a popular one, too. Please Don't Eat the Daisies. Oh, and you know what's on this cable channel Tubi that I was telling you about? Tubi. You're not going to believe this. Now, this really goes back. My dad used to love this, found it funny, and he was the one that actually introduced it to me. And of course, it was way later when he introduced it to me, but it was Ernie Kovacs, the Ernie Kovacs black and white, wacky, off-the-wall shows, the comedian Ernie Kovacs. They are on Tubi, this cable channel Tubi, Tubi, right now. And it's so obscure and so wacky and so nutty that it's hilarious. Sanford and Son, yes. Red Farks, I'm going to have the heart attack. Little Rascals, Lone Ranger, yes, Lone Ranger. How about we're living in the Twilight Zone right now? Martha, you are so right. Absolutely. F Troop, remember F Troop starring Larry Storch? Here's something I want to tell you about. I'm a big TV buff. I'm a big music buff. And I've got a Facebook group called Beautiful Instrumentals and Vocalist Music that's on Facebook that grew out of Yahoo groups that I founded and moderated for 20 years on Yahoo groups. It's now on Facebook. And we were talking about some of the incredible music. Car 54, there's another one there. That's the Car 54. Remember that? And trying to think of some of those other obscure ones that Antenna TV plays. Antenna TV has come out with some really obscure ones. Of course, the Carol Burnett Show. That team of Carol Burnett and Harvey Korman and Tim Conway and Vicki Lawrence and Lyle Wagner, who just passed a couple of months back, were incredible. Anyone watch Sir Graves, Ghastly, or Captain Kangaroo, of course, with Mr. Green Jeans? Absolutely. How about HR Puffin Stuff on Saturday mornings, or the ABC After School Special? Come home from school, and there would always be a special that was starring some kid like a Christy McNichol or somebody of the day. And it would be something about, it'd have a moral to it. It would have a lesson to it. F Troop, Sunset Strip. How about Doctor Who? Yes. Yeah, on public television, I've raised a lot of money for the Doctor Who airings, that's for sure. Romper Room. That's right, where she looked through the mirror. And you know what was cool when she looked through the mirror on Romper Room, the school teacher? Back then, there was always a Jimmy in there. I was always happy because, there was a Jimmy. The block I grew up on was really amazing because there was a Jimmy, a Tommy, a Bobby, a Greggy, a Petey, a Stevie. It was either I-E or Y. Magic Garden, another one too. The Electric Company, the Dark Shadows, Carol Burnett bloopers, hilarious. All My Children. The Electric Company. Can you name two legends who came out of the Electric Company who still perform today? One's male, one's female. Two legends who were actors on the Electric Company on PBS. We used to love the Electric Company. Magic Garden used to air on WPIX Channel 11 in New York. There's so many of them. The two legends that came out of, and of course they were legends well before the Electric Company, were Pee-wee's Playhouse. June says Pee-wee's Playhouse. Rita Moreno was on the Electric Company, and Morgan Freeman was on the Electric Company as well. Of course, Sesame Street, legendary Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, another one. Did anybody see the movie with Tom Hanks last year? And if you did see the movie with Tom Hanks, what did you think? Did you think he did it justice? Fred Rogers. Star Trek is another fantastic one. That's another great one as well. Star Trek. I was mentioning some of the other shows and some of the connections. Some of the shows sort of grew out of each other, which I think is really, really cool. And I'm trying to think. There was another show that I wanted to mention, The Courtship of Eddie's Father, starring Bill Bixby, who later went on to become the Incredible Hulk. Do you remember? It might be a little obscure for some, but The Courtship of Eddie's Father. And I remember seeing that. I remember the maid, Mrs. Livingston, the Japanese woman. I forget her name. She was another brilliant actress. And I remember as a kid, there was an episode where Mrs. Livingston was going to leave. She was going to leave Eddie and then the dad, who was Bill Bixby. And I remember just crying all of a sudden because Mrs. Livingston was leaving the show. And of course, she didn't leave. But in that episode, I think she was being called back home or something. Bachelor Father, that goes back. That's another one. The Love Boat. Yeah, that's a cool one too. The Flying Nun with Sally Field. Yes, that's another great one too. That's really going back. How about game shows? Of course, The Price is Right is still going. Jeopardy, God bless Alex Trebek. Wheel of Fortune with good old Pat Sajak. He's amazing too. Laverne and Shirley. That's another one. Dark Shadows with a Man from U.N.C.L.E. Got a chance to meet Shirley Feeney. Didn't meet Laverne. Didn't meet Penny Williams. I wish that I did, but Penny Marshall, that is. I didn't get a chance to meet her, but I did meet Cindy Williams. Shirley Feeney. She was performing actually in Dan Goggins' Nonsense, the amazing Nonsense that Dan Goggin is watching. He's a great friend. He created the Nonsense series, and they've brought it on TV too as well, but it's been on stage for years. And she was I think she was Mother Superior. She came to the region, and we saw her perform and met her. She was amazing. Let's Make a Deal, Monty Hall, and of course now you have the updated version as well, which is really good. Seinfeld led to Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry David is hysterical, and he's amazing as Bernie Sanders, isn't he? He's absolutely amazing. And then ABC just did those recent retros of, I believe it's Match Game and the $25,000 Pyramid. Of course, Dick Clark was one of my favorites. Some of my favorites, Dick Clark, Johnny Carson, I think they were people who you can throw them out anywhere. They were very team-oriented and utilitarian, meaning that they could do commercials, they could host, they can produce, they can do a whole host of great things. So it sort of always patterned my career after people like that who can wear literally many hats, as I have as well. Saturday Night Live. Match Game, too. Match Game. Who remembers Tattletales with Bert Convy, the late Bert Convy, who we lost too soon. And then he went on to replace Alan Ludden, the late husband of Betty White, who never married again. Betty White was in love with Alan Ludden and Alan with Betty, and they, stayed true, and she never remarried. And she went on to, of course, marry Tyler Moore and all the other shows that she's done. But Christine agrees that Larry David is amazing as Bernie Sanders. The Newlywed Game, that's right. The Newlywed Game and Hollywood Squares, The Gong Show. Remember Love Connection? We'll be back in 2 and 2 with Chuck Woolery. Card Sharks, that was another good one too. Daytime used to be filled with all the incredible game shows. It was a lot of fun. Tattletales, Get Smart, Bowling for Dollars too. That was another one. And then sometimes the TV stations used to have, like on Friday or Saturday nights, they'd have like Chiller Theater, or in New York, they had The Hand for Chiller Theater come up. That was amazing. I think there's clips of that on YouTube. It was really, really eerie. That used to scare the kids and the people watching more than the wacky movie that would come on would be the actual chiller that would come up, and it would eat all the words, the letters in the word chiller. And then there was Fright Night and so many other things that were, it was really a cool time, when television was coming up with all these great, brilliant ideas and all these great shows. Truth or Consequences, that was another terrific one. What's My Line? Name That Tune. Did you know that Kathy Lee Gifford, who was Kathy Lee Johnson before Kathy Lee Gifford, and I had an opportunity to meet Kathy and Frank on numerous occasions, and she used to be the one who would sort of la-di-da the notes the notes that you heard when they tried to guess what the tune was on Name That Tune. You know, la, 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 la. She would be the one doing that. And that's one of the big breaks that she had. Million Dollar Movie on WOR Channel 9 in New York, yes, and Chiller Theater was on Channel 11. Your scariest show, Martha, was Vincent Price, The Tingler. That was another good one too. I tell you, there were so many good shows, and there's some. What are some of your favorite ones today? A lot of people love This Is Us. A lot of people follow all the CSI series of shows as well. There are shows, whether they're on commercial television or public television, that you guys like. Of course, you remember the cooking shows. I had an opportunity over the years to interview Julia Child and Jacques Pepin. They're both phenomenal people. But my sister and I, when we watched the cooking shows on public television on Saturday mornings, we would be watching the chefs create, you know, Julia or Jacques or whoever else. Another one I just thought of before I get back to that. The Galloping Gourmet. Does anybody remember the Galloping Gourmet? I think it was Graham Kerr was the host of the Galloping Gourmet. That was nationwide, and I think in New York City it was on WCBS Channel 2. But my sister and I, that was the Galloping Gourmet. Anybody remember that? It was a cooking talk show, and he was always known for drinking so much wine. As a matter of fact, let me make sure that I toast to you guys. So many of you have joined us. We've got a little Riesling here, so we're going to toast to all the people who are joining us. You and you and you. I hope you have your beverage of choice. Last night it was a little Amaretto. Before that it was the Shock Top Belgian White. Tonight it's a little Riesling. Nice and light. My sister and I used to watch the cooking shows on public television after Sesame Street and Zoom. Remember? Gonna zoom. Boston, Mass, 02134. All those things you remember in your head from childhood. Zoom was a great one. What we would do, my sister and I, and my sister was sort of a semi-guest last night from Florida. It was her birthday, and we sang her happy birthday. It was a lot of fun, and thanks to everybody for joining in. She felt the love last night, and she thanks all of you who were here last night wishing her. Yes, didn't the Galloping Gourmet get in trouble? I don't think it was I don't think it was the Galloping Gourmet, but I know who you're talking about. Jeff Smith, the Frugal Gourmet. That one, there was a little bit of an incident there. He used to host on public television. That show was very popular. June said Zachary. Martha says Sale of the Century, Pyramid, and Beat the Clock. Remember Beat the Clock? That was a great show too. And The Walking Dead on AMC. That's another great one. So getting back to my sister and I, when we would watch the cooking shows, and my mother would watch them too, but probably still does. We would always have something, minor, a tuna sandwich or whatever it was for lunch. But we would close our eyes and we would pretend that what they were making, this elaborate, chicken Florentine or lasagna or whatever they were making, some exotic dish, we would pretend that we were eating that instead of the tuna melt or whatever it was. Who remembers fluffernutters? Peanut butter on this side, marshmallow fluff. We used to toast them on toast, or we used to toast them on English muffins, and they were amazing. Little House on the Prairie, Gunsmoke. Marianne Kelly, my friend Marianne Kelly, we were talking on the air on Close Up Radio when I interviewed her today. We were talking about bloopers, and have we ever experienced bloopers, in our lives? And Marianne, who's a dancer too, a trained dancer, and she was telling me a hilarious story where she was doing this wonderful twist and spin, and it was brilliant. And then she ended up, flat on her rear end, and it was a hilarious moment. I had a situation where I was on Roy Rogers, another one. Talking about some of the shows that people grew up with or loved or even like seeing for the first time in reruns. There was a time that I was on public television and we were live on the air and we had phones ringing in the back because it was a special. I think it was a nature special. And we were live in the studio. We were talking to the viewers and the phones are ringing off the hook because it was a really popular episode of the nature special. So I was on camera with the director of development for the station who was co-hosting with me. And the way it was working is I would be on, And then he would slide over, and then you'd see the two of us on camera, and we would do what they say is toss. I would then toss it to him, and we would chat on camera, and then I would sort of back out of the shot, and then he would do the talking. And then when it was my turn to get ready to go on, I would then slowly appear on camera, and we would chat, and then he would sort of slowly back out, and then the camera would focus on me. So this was live, and it was appearing in several states, and it was a great special, and the night was going really well. And the phones were ringing off the hook. There was volunteers taking public television pledges, supporting the station, which I wholeheartedly believe in, as you know, and have done for many years. And it was really amazing. I'm somebody who's, you can throw a lot of stuff at me, and I'm calm, cool, collected. I usually run towards the fire. I'm usually always lifting everybody else up, and usually always doing what I can for others. However, on this evening, the director of development, I won't say his first name because some of my friends and colleagues could be watching and they'll know exactly who it was. So we will keep that secret. But the person at the time who was director of development was co-hosting with me. And he was speaking, and I came in because he was getting ready to toss to me. So the camera sort of backed out, got the two of us on. We were looking at each other, and he now had to then turn around and sort of walk off camera because it was my turn to say what I had to say. Soupy Sales, another one. As a child, Boomtown with Rec Trailer on WBZ TV4 in Boston, great station. Who remembers The Wizard of Oz? The Wizard of Oz, that's right. Of course, Wizard of Oz, a fabulous movie. The Wizard of Oz with Alex Trebek, that's another great one. Soupy Sales. I got a chance to meet him at a radio station once and interview him way back. It was terrific. Amazon Prime just put all the Julia Child episodes, and she loved the movie Julia. That was really good. That was a great movie too. But yeah, Soupy Sales was fantastic. So I'm on camera on public television, and the director of development, who was my co-host, was we're getting ready to wrap up, and I come on camera and we banter, and then he makes an about face and starts walking off camera. Phones are ringing. Volunteers are taking PBS pledges, and it's a great night. It's really active. It's a lot of fun. So I'm getting ready to speak, and as I speak, out of the corner, I'm looking at the camera as I'm looking at you right now in the studio live, and I see him do that turn and start to walk off, and he was sort of hopping a little bit like a bunny, and he was wearing tan, tight polyester slacks. And so, I'm very good at keeping composure under duress and chaos. However, this was just so unbelievable, and I kept seeing it over and over again in my mind's eye. He did this turn, and he walked off camera. And again, this is all live on TV. He walked off camera, and I saw him do sort of like a bunny hop type thing. And one of those hops, as he lifted up with his tan, almost wedgied, tight pantsuit, whatever it was, I heard. Now, I'm a professional. I can keep my composure. However, I just kept seeing, I'm looking at the camera, but I saw him make, here he is. He was just on television, and he was making all these important statements, and it was very serious and very solid, and it was great. Then he tossed to me, and then I was doing my thing. But then I kept seeing out of my eye him turn around, that bunny hop, like he was happy that he, did his thing. And then one of those hops, his butt lifted up, and it was. So I'm saying, my God, the director of development just farted on TV and doesn't even know that I know it, and I've heard it, and probably the volunteers right behind him heard it, and probably the crew are erupting in laughter because they heard it as well. And I have to stand here and still do my thing and maintain professional and credible and smile and make phones ring and do all those things that you got to do. Well, I kept repeating that vision and that sound in my head for the first two sentences that I said. I started, when you ever watch the bloopers with the news anchors and they're trying to tell you a serious story, and all of a sudden they start giggling a little bit. And, there was a car crash, like that. And they're trying to regain their composure. And one person was thrown off the bike like that. And well, this happened to me. And I was on camera live. It was hilarious. We still laugh about it now because it's so rare, but it was cool. And I kept hearing and seeing that same vision over and over. And knowing he was the director of development at the station, it just added to the hilarity of it all. And I started laughing profusely. The viewers at home seemed to love it. The phones were ringing off the hook, but to the point where I couldn't even speak. It was really cool. I think I have it on tape somewhere, VHS probably. And I said, hey, Ted or Bob or Ralph or whatever, can you come back over? Come on over. Because he sort of knew that I was laughing about something. He had no idea what I was laughing about. He had no idea I wasn't going to tell him. To this day, he still doesn't know. And I've worked with several, so they would all have to guess. Do you think it's that one? Do you think it's that one? They don't know. The crew knew, because it turned out the crew was in stitches laughing because they had heard it, because the microphone was on him. He had the lapel microphone. It was on him. They heard that sound. So here we are doing our serious professional work and the polyester pants and the bunny hop. So I had to call him over, and he came in, and he didn't know why he had to just start speaking. And I've had to rescue many others over the years who've had that happen too. It's fun. You do what you can, right? And it was hilarious. And then I eventually came back on after, maintained the composure and did what I had to do. But when I went in the back to the control room, the guys were in stitches. They loved it. And they were saying something to the effect of, my God, did you hear that? Who did that? Who? And then they knew that it was the director of development. So that had happened. And that was one story that was absolutely hilarious. Eileen Barker, Eileen, I'm so happy, Eileen, that you're here. You are such a supporter. You're always saying such beautiful things on my Facebook page at Jim Masters TV. You're following me on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, on Instagram and Twitter at Jim Masters TV. And Eileen said let's bring it in here and share some more with you guys. So many wonderful comments coming in. Touched by an angel. Eileen is in Australia. So the time difference. We're going into summer soon, and she's going into winter. Eileen, thanks for being with us all the way from beautiful Australia. I love Australia. Hope to get back there. Touched by an Angel, Highway to Heaven. Yeah, Highway to Heaven was a really good one too. Murder, She Wrote. Roma Downey, she starred in with Della Reese, Touched by an Angel. And I met Roma at Carnegie Hall at an event in New York City that I MC at Carnegie Hall, a big Christmas concert. And Roma is phenomenal, and her daughter is great too. Her daughter performs. She's a performer, singer, actress. Murder, She Wrote too, with Andrea Lansbury. Stay Safe, Love and Light, you too, Eileen. And of course, LOL from Kathleen. Mike Ferrante is in the house. Again, toasting all of you as we join you live from all around the world. I toast you and you and you and you and you and you. Tonight we're having a little Riesling. Last night was a little Amaretto. And before that, it was some Shock Top. What should I get for tomorrow night? Do you have something of choice? Again, water is good too. Ginger ale, juice. Doesn't have to be this. A little Riesling. So yeah, that was very funny. That was one of those. Marion said, "Hey Jim, are there any bloopers that you can share?" And that was one that was hilarious. And I'll try to think more up. We're going to have some guests next week. This week, I just wanted to talk to you guys and directly. I want to keep you involved. I'm very interactive. So, I don't want to make the whole show just about me. I want to have you guys participate. And I absolutely love it. As I mentioned on last night's show and the other previous episodes, I'm all about sharing the light. I've got this big light on me right here, and in television and world and everything else I do, the lights are on me. But I really love sharing the light and love with others and hearing from you, because I feed off the energy of other people. Christine Fairwood said, martini. Oh, that's a good one. We should do a martini. Don't forget, on Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, everybody voted for 10 a.m. yesterday. We're going to have Sunday brunch with Jim. Maui Schnapps, red or blue, yum. Martha said that's a good one. Martha says you are wonderful. Thank you very much, Martha. I believe you guys are as well. I just wanted to show you some quick things here. As I mentioned at the top of the show, and don't forget, tell all your friends. Share this with your friends. your colleagues. Love to get even more folks to join us here. We've got a lot of folks that have been watching each night's episode live at 7 p.m. from all around the world. And I thank all those who are watching and those who have been watching and all the great comments. We're going to have some guests. We're going to have some surprises, a lot of things that we're working on as we build this here together. We're building it with you. Again, I do this for a living on television and radio, but I just wanted to have an opportunity to do this because so many of you have been asking me to do this for a long time. And again, for those of you who are just joining us, if you love those Masters mantras, I'm actually going to be doing a very special Masters mantra. I got requested by somebody who works in television. It was a friend of mine who just got a really big job, just started a major production company in cohort with another major television person. And kudos to him and to them both. And he asked me to do a Masters mantra for him and for two of his colleagues in television, because he's leaving a network to start this wonderful collaboration with another television person. And I'm going to be working on that tonight. Thank you, Ken. I appreciate this, that you find these shows so positive. I love doing them. And sending you smiles as well, Martha. Love and light, Eileen, to you as well. Only here for the positive. Everyone I talk to is a little down. That is absolutely correct. I know when we watch this, it's easy to, and I'm glad that it does, to forget the reality and the seriousness of what's happening. I mean, did we ever think we'd be in a position or a situation where we would be deciding whether or not we should be opening up stores and restaurants and places of pleasure and places to get haircuts and the basics of life, yet at the same time concerned about this virus, which is relentless and it mutates and it's contagious and it's global. Who would have ever thought? And I'm in the industry. I'm a journalist myself, and you can really get down. Some of the people that you see that are reporting the news, just as much as nurses and all the rest who are a blessing, the essential workers, they're having a tough time. They're having to really take time off, because what they're hearing and what they're seeing and what they're witnessing on a daily basis really takes a toll on you. So they're doing their job, but it is yeoman's work what they're doing, trying to get us the facts. But it takes the mental health toll is extraordinary. The fear of the unknown. We talked about that when I did an interview with Marianne Kelly today in Close Up Radio. We've been doing a lot of talks about how to deal with COVID-19 financially, spiritually, health-wise, mental health-wise, and so much more. We're not going to be shaking hands for a while. We're not going to be, on top of each other, hugging, all the things that we're meant to do. Social distancing, masks, separation. It's going to be a really interesting thing. And it is scary. I know we're all scared. I know there's fear. Trying to send some love and light your way, some positivity. Like I said last night, the blessing is that you're here and that I'm here and that our loved ones are with us, because there's a lot of people who've lost their loved ones, lost a friend, lost a coworker. There's people, because of the virus. And there's a lot of people, their businesses have been severely impacted. A lot of people who are out of work. All of us really are trying to pivot and do what we can. Even me, I'm doing the radio shows, Close Up Radio, out of the house, out of the home studio, doing this with you as well, writing scripts and doing voiceovers. But we're not doing any television shoots right now because the planes are grounded. And usually we do the lifestyle travel TV series where we go to all the food restaurants. That series I do on CW, Fox affiliates, and CBS affiliates. That's on hiatus until things can get back in gear. So we're all pivoting. Thank you, Kathleen. You are awesome. June, I love you too. Christine, back at you. Ken, I appreciate it. Those in the ICU, ER people, they will have PTSD. I have cousins who are nurses, teachers, doctors, and they're telling me it's really, really tough. It's really, really tough. So we salute all the teachers. It's Teacher Appreciation Week. Hats off. The teachers are doing incredible work to have to pivot and all of a sudden teach the kids from home. The lesson plans, try to get the kids to show up at the computer. That's been an issue. God bless the teachers and all the parents too, who have had to, some of them still have to work while they have to take care of their own children. That's really difficult. But I want to salute the nurses as well. And I found a couple of positive things briefly here that I definitely wanted to share with you. And I went through digging for some good news here for us all. And again, on this show, we like to have fun, levity. We're going to have guests. We have interaction with you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Karen. Thank you for what you do. How do journalists? And also want to try and friends from Japan. It's interesting. Denise Appliance, if you don't wear a mask when out in public, radio show, Dr. Culture. Very important. Masks. I do wear the mask. You have to, when you wear, we forget that when we wear the mask, we're doing it for the good of the other person. We're not just trying to protect ourselves, we're protecting the other person. So if the other person were it, they're protecting us. No matter how, we have it or how hard it gets, we're going to make it. That's right. Exactly right, Eileen. Positivity. God bless. Stay safe. You're awesome. Appreciate that. Positivity is best for our immune systems. So double advantage programs like this. Thank you, Marianne. I appreciate that. In honor of Nurses Appreciation Week, I wanted to show you this. This is really cool. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing here. This is really, really nice. And this happened in Miami, Florida. Masks, that was a typo. Well, nobody saw that besides you and me, Karen. In honor of Nurses Appreciation Week, BSA Troop. I used to be in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, so I love the Boy Scouts. It was cool. Boy Scouts of America Troop 10 in Florida, a scout troop located in Kendall, decided to do something to honor the local nurses working on the front line, helping those that have contracted COVID-19, and that's happening a lot too in the medical community. Troop 10 donated 120 camp cards valued at $600 at the local Heroes at Baptist Hospital. These cards entitled the bearer to restaurant discounts at places like Shorty's, Papa John's, Miami Subs Grill, McDonald's, and also discounts at Dick's Sporting Goods, Divers Direct, Rapids Water Park, and Baptist Hospital of Miami and Miami Center Institute located at 8900 North Kendall Drive. The nurses of 5 Tower, Radiation Oncology, ICU, and Pediatric Chemo were all the recipients of a gift package containing the camp cards, the donuts, and the chocolates. And the deliveries were made yesterday, May 6, 2020, and they were made possible by one of Troop 10's adult leaders, Claire Morales, who was a nurse at Baptist Hospital. And here you go. Is this not beautiful? Some of the things, some of the nurses there. Is that not beautiful? And you're seeing a lot of this on television and on social media as well. Those are the nurses, Baptist Hospital there in Miami, Florida, who were some of the recipients. Happy Nurses Week. Want to share another quick one here for you as well, which was really nice. My name is Kimberly Mendaby. I am the unit nurse manager at South Wing 6. This is in Massachusetts, I believe in the Boston area. My team and I are currently located on Mass Mutual 6, caring for COVID patients who are positive, COVID positive patients, of course. And we are called the COVID Squad. It's really cool. There is the COVID Squad at Mass Mutual in Massachusetts. Look at that. Ready for war against the virus. God bless them all, right? And again, there's images of this all around the country and around the world. So a little bit about this group here. Kimberly is responsible for leading the team of nurses, patient care technicians, ancillary staff in the fight against COVID-19. And in these times, she feels proud to wear the nursing uniform and to be part of this important moment in history. Caring for COVID patients is both scary, as we want to ensure we keep ourselves and our families safe, and also rewarding as we see our patients recover. She says the most challenging thing about being on the front line for her and the team is when they lose a patient. This is a hard process, no matter what, no matter where you work within the organization. She says the most rewarding part of being on the front line is watching our patients' journey lead them through the front door back home to their loved ones. She says the recovery process is truly amazing. And that's another thing to remind ourselves of. They're talking about 100,000 plus predictions. There's many who have recovered. So bless them. And she also goes on to say, people would be surprised to know that keeping laughter in your day, big believer in that, and I'm glad you're here to join us for the laughter, that keeping laughter in your day, especially with her team, makes the tough day a bearable day. Not necessarily a phenomenal day, but a bearable day. And I hope these shows on Jim Masters Live, this series we're doing together, are doing that for you and yours as well. She says, this team enjoys a good laugh. Working on the front lines changed my life by reminding me of two things. Number one, life is a gift, isn't it? Life is a gift. Number two, so is my team, a true gift. I am so proud to be a South Wing 6 MS6 team member helping to fight COVID-19. And again, this is the team there at Mass Mutual in Massachusetts, up in the Boston area. That is the COVID squad, COVID-19 squad doing their thing. And I found this as well. And again, if you're on Interstate 95 and you are driving up 95 through Connecticut, there's a beautiful bridge that goes over the Quinnipiac Pearl Harbor Memorial. It's the Pearl Harbor Memorial Bridge that goes over the Quinnipiac River. It's in New Haven, Connecticut. And they usually light it up red, white, and blue for 4th of July. A lot of times it's blue for the state of Connecticut. Blue, I believe, is, in the color of the flag, blue and white. But right now they've had it lit up in red. This is the Pearl Harbor Memorial Bridge, or Quinnipiac River Bridge, over the Quinnipiac River, Interstate 95, north and southbound, going over the New Haven Harbor in New Haven, Connecticut. And it's all lit in red. And this is for all of the medical workers, the healthcare providers, those who are fighting the good fight for the good of their patients and for the good of us all. Absolutely beautiful sight, all lit up in red. And to all the nurses and the doctors, the medical staff, through and through, all around the country, all around the world, the grocery store workers, the delivery workers, the housekeepers, the house cleaners, the truck drivers, the pharmacists, the postal workers, all of them, those that are working in the banks, anybody who's outside just working to keep the wheels turning. To you and you and you and you and those of you who have loved ones and friends who are doing that incredible, life-changing work that will be remembered by us all as we look back at these incredible times in perpetuity. They'll be reading about what we're going through in history books. We say, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. It is gorgeous work. And yes, Christine says, putting their own lives on the line, and that is exactly what they're doing. So before we would you believe that the hour is gone? Would you believe it's like 7 after 8? I start this show. I keep saying I'm going to do it for about a half hour because I don't want to take up too much of your time, though I always have a ball with you guys. I want to cheer you. I invite you to join me again, 7 p.m. Eastern, all kinds of different surprises, all new shows, 7 p.m. Eastern live. And this weekend, we're going to be back tomorrow, Friday. And then this weekend, we're also going to take you on location again. I think either tomorrow we're going to do it or we're going to do it on Saturday, get you out of the home studio, get us out of the house together, and we'll go on location again like we did. And then also Sunday, I might do 2 shows. I may do one at 7 o'clock in the evening, but I'm definitely going to do Sunday Brunch with Jim. That's 10 a.m. Eastern, right here from the home studio. We're probably going to be in the dining room, maybe even more casual, and we're going to join together. Maybe you have some toast or coffee or Bloody Mary, whatever it is, and join me for a really cool show. I love all the support. Keep spreading the word. Tell everybody. I'm trying to get the word out. Tell everybody you know that we are here for you. Not just through this pandemic, on Facebook and YouTube live. We're streaming on both right now collectively. Martha, thank you very much for the claps. Ken, thank you. June, Christine, Martha, thank you as well. June with the hearts. Road trip, Ken, absolutely. Everybody's, tucked in their houses, which is a smart thing. I am wear the mask, social distance, step by step. We can't rush this. There is an economy we have to deal with, yes. But we have to be very careful in everything we're doing. Kathleen, how are you? I know that you are missing those New York Mets, as am I. Kathleen works with the New York Mets, and usually we'd be having some hot dogs at Citi Field right now and having some fun. I cheer all of you. Again, this show is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have some surprise guests cheering you all from the industry and also from other parts of life. Thank you for being with us. It is 9 minutes after 8 p.m. Eastern. To Eileen in Australia and everybody all around the world, you guys are a true blessing. And again, this show is here, Jim Masters Live, for you. And people ask me before we go, is your name really Jim Masters? Yes, it is. I'm the fifth James Masters. Dad, granddad, goes all the way back to England. So yeah, Jim Masters in the flesh. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time, everybody. I hate to say goodbye. Goodbyes are not my thing. Hello and welcome is. But we will be back at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Love you all. You are welcome, Marianne and Ken. Great show. Thank you. I appreciate it. Night to Christine. The hour flew by in a New York minute, but we'll be back again together and I'll have some more surprises. I like to mix things up. I don't like the show to be all the same thing. We'll have some good times together. I love you all. I appreciate your being here. Spread the word that we'll be here for you 7 o'clock weeknights and on the weekend, and then 10 a.m. this Sunday, Breakfast with Jim. Will I be in my pajamas? Will I be in my robe? Who knows? All right. Cheers to you. Very smooth. You guys have a good night. You take care. All right. Love you all. Bye-bye. See ya. You're the best. Good night.